to Made in Ely, where we chat to local business owners about what they're building and how they're doing it. Recorded here at the Ely Work Collective. Today's guest is Robyn, owner of Odyssey Games in Ely. Welcome, Robyn.
Hello.
Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's really exciting to be here.
You're welcome. So as we kick off most podcasts in this fashion, tell us who you are for folks that don't know, what you do in Ely.
So I am Robyn. I'm the director of Odyssey Games in Ely. We are a board game shop on the High Street. If you haven't found us yet, we're right opposite Tom's Cakes, which is one of the most deadly positions to be on the High Street.
Oh my God.
And we have board games for all ages, abilities, and everything in between. Yeah.
Amazing, lovely. Okay, so we're gonna do a little rewind. I always say when I do that, we need some kind of sound effect we can add on afterwards. So for folks that tell us a bit about your background, how you got to to the board game shop now. Sort of what did that journey look like?
It's been a very roundabout route, which I always really like sharing this because I think, especially when you're young and going to school and university and things, you're told you have to figure it all out in one go. And I can absolutely tell you categorically that is not true. Yeah. So I grew up in the West Country in Somerset and Devon. I went to university in London. Yeah. I've lived in Cambridge. I've lived in France. And then I made my way all the way back after COVID to Ely, of all places. Wow. And went, oh my God, I love this place. I love the Ely magazine and all of the different clubs and community things you can do and how active this is for such a small city. Yeah. Bought a house. And then when I had very little money left from buying a house, looked at my husband and went, I think I'd like to open a board game shop. And 2 years later,
as you do.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So Ely specifically, obviously, you picked that from moving here as well. So, what kind of appealed to you about them wanting to set up the business here?
I think I found from day one. So, I previously worked at Heifers in Cambridge. I helped run the board game department down there. Yeah. Then COVID happened, which was a huge thing in everybody's lives for one reason or another. And I moved away for a bit. And then when I came back, board games were one of the ways that I found to connect with local people and get to know people in the area. Yeah. There's already a really wonderful grassroots community of clubs. There's Monday nights at the High Flyers, for example. Yeah. Julia's Tea Rooms have a games night once a month. So there's lots of things already happening in the community. And I kept wandering by this little empty shop unit going, I wonder. And funnily enough, I think this is what I love about Ely. It finally twigged for me at a Foodie Friday, of all places. Okay. It was one of the really, 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 really busy ones. It was middle of summer. Yeah. There was nowhere to stand, nowhere to sit. Yeah. I was queuing for ages for my chow mein. Yeah. Like everyone's, just grabbing what they can. Yeah, yeah. My dad was visiting. My dad and my husband were just sort of stood at a little circular table. They'd already eaten. They were still waiting for me. And this group of this group of four basically walked over and were like, can we use a bit of your table? Yeah. The place is rammed. And my dad noticed that one of the chaps was wearing like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of themed T-shirt. And was like, oh, hey, cool. I played that back in my youth and blah, blah, blah. And they got talking. And this group basically said, oh, it's just such a shame that we don't have a shop in Ely. We don't have somewhere that we can go. We have to go to Cambridge or Bury St Edmunds. We can't buy things and be part of our community here. Yeah. And my dad just pointed at me in a queue somewhere and just went, you need to speak to her. You need to go speak to that person there. Oh. And They did. I came back over with my chow mein and they're like, are you opening a board game shop? What's happening? And I was like, I'm eating my chow mein actually.
Let me do that and then we'll talk in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that was a bit of a shock to the system, and I've loved it. I've loved the community support, and Ely's just been, it was already such a vibrant community.
Yeah.
So we went, how do we fit into the ecosystem of it?
Yeah.
How do we support it? How do we make it grow?
Yeah.
And we've had nothing but love back, really. It's been brilliant. So, it's just, Ely's just been the best place on planet Earth. I will tell anybody that. I think I'm stuck here for life now. I think
same. James and I are very much in that exact same boat. It's kind of, it's one of those things, I don't know, recently as well, with especially the same kind of opening up the business here. It's, when you kind of fall back in love with a place again.
Yes.
You meet all these amazing people that do, doing some great stuff as well. And you kind of see a whole different side to it, I think, as well, from a, a business element, don't you? When you're really connected to like a whole different community.
Absolutely. And that's been the most interesting thing recently for me is, so I don't have kids, and you don't really see like the school side of it and how all the kids clubs and things like that. And I recently hired a wonderful, wonderful human being called Fiona, who's got 3 boys of her own. And so she's in all of this. She knows where all the kids activities are and clubs are and things are. And she understands like how families think and how families buy, what they're looking for and things like this. And it's like a whole side of Ely that's been very alien to me. And you just suddenly start working with different schools and the scouts and the guides and things like this. And it's great. Like there's so much happening on any given night in Ely, which is just amazing to me, I think, for what you think is going to be quite a quiet little town or something, and it's not. There's just so much happening,
so much going on. It's
brilliant.
No, it's great. I just want to zero in on the kind of the business side, that moment where you kind of decided, right, I'm actually going to do this, because I think there's so many people that have these great ideas, don't they? And they're kind of like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we did this, or you have a business plan or something you kind of want to do. For you, what was that kind of pivot? Was there a pivotal moment where you kind of went, let's make this a reality with the shop, with the, you'd found that kind of place, always keep walking by it and seeing it. What was that moment for you where you kind of went, right, no, let's give this a go. Let's do it.
That's a really good question. I think because there is that, there's 2 sides of it, right? There's I'd had experience selling board games. I knew the reps, where to buy things from, who to talk to, the kind of system of it all, because I'd worked in Heifers previously. But I had no idea what running a business would look like. And every single person you speak to is going to have a different idea of what that looks like. Because when you're running something, your priorities are different. Everyone's priorities are different. And when you're starting a business, all of the priorities are just as important as each other.
Oh gosh. I hear that.
There's no good place to start. And for me, it came off the back of like a lot of discussions with my husband and going, do I, how does this, what about this? What about that? How does it impact this? How would it impact that? Blah, blah, blah. And I think one day he just turned around and went like, you're going to do it. Nothing I say is going to change this conversation or this outcome. So just get on with it, essentially. And I got very, very lucky. I'm very fortunate in the fact that my mother-in-law is an accountant. So, which is the best thing in the world to have, honestly.
Absolutely.
So I sort of ran it past her and went, what company structure do I need, or what about this, or what about that? And I had a really lovely safety net in that fact, because I didn't need to have all of the knowledge up front. And I think you just have to speak to people, speak to experts. I wouldn't get my hair cut from someone who wasn't a hairdresser. I'm not going to ask someone who isn't an accountant to do my taxes. And, so I think just try and talk to people, ask those questions, find out the bits of information you don't know. You're not going to know it all. As even when we were a bit further along the line, Eel Catcher's daughter and Victoria's Cheese, our neighbours, were brilliant at helping me figure out where the bins go.
Practical stuff.
All of that sort of stuff. And I'm like, Victoria opened about 6 weeks before I did, and she'd had to get fibre cable put in the buildings. And that actually was great for me, because then it was already there when I was in. So everyone's kind of, again, it's that community. Everyone's figuring it out and talk to each other, work together where you can, really is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a good point. I mean, same. James and I've felt exactly the same thing here. Is those elements of kind of like everyone is in the same boat to a point as well, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Regardless if you're in a completely different business, you're doing something completely different, there's still kind of commonalities there, isn't there? And it's kind of like you say, don't be afraid to ask other people. I think we've been astounded actually the minute you reach out to people and kind of just be very human and very honest of sort of like, I'm great at this side of the business element, like you say, all your background with board games, how to run that side.
Yes.
But actually no one's going to know all of the other side of it, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
And just reaching out for to those experts, like you say, to get that advice as well.
It's so important. And like there's a reason that you're doing what you're doing, right? That you have to be passionate about it. And you have to be driven, but you also, there are so many hurdles that you need to overcome. Yeah. And you can't do them all on your own. None of us are bubbles. No. We all need that extra bit of, well, hang on a second, where on earth is the water meter? Yeah, exactly. Help me.
Yeah.
So, you absolutely need to be able to do that.
Now, while we're on the, we're obviously going to get to board games in a minute, but while we're on the, I guess, the sort of challenges and, overcoming elements of sort of setting up, as you touched on there about the shop, it is beautiful. I mean, I can, but I can imagine that comes with its own challenges as well.
It does. We've had some really unique challenges, I think, as being part of a cathedral building.
Yes.
Some really fun ones. We've had some possibly Victorian wiring issues.
Wow.
Which have been interesting. Yeah, I've had a couple of electricians come in at various points and go, did you need to have 12 transformers plugged into this bit of lighting? No, I don't think we did. So I would like to say that the cathedral themselves have been really supportive and have helped figure out a lot of these problems.
That's great.
But we had, we had to get all of our wiring sorted because for the first 6 months, I couldn't turn my lights on in the shop in one go. They were all on different switches.
Oh, God.
But the power kept overloading and it would hit the fuse box. So it would take us 10 minutes in the morning of like slowly warming these lights up and sort of
being really gentle to them.
Being gentle, softly speaking to them like, come on lights, good morning. Please you want to work today. Looking like a right idiot when halfway through the day one of them would decide to switch off again. And we've had some great issues. But the cathedral have been brilliant in helping us sort those out. But it's the joys of old buildings.
Exactly, yeah. That's the thing, it's those that kind of plus and minus. I remember, Victoria, so you mentioned there, one of your neighbours came on the podcast quite recently. She was saying a similar thing. It's, again, even just from a temperature perspective as well, it's a beautiful old stone building. Actually, this time of year, lovely right now. But then you get kind of winter time and you're, freezing. Scraping ice off I think that's what she said, the inside the windows kind of thing. So
absolutely.
But then I can imagine, but also for you guys, especially given what you do, creates a wonderful atmosphere as well for the shop, for folks coming in.
It really does. And I think we really leaned into it. We kept the design of it quite simple. Again, limited budget when I first opened.
Yeah,
so we've got IKEA furniture.
Same. Yep.
And it makes it homely, right? Because if you're fitting it, if it fits on my shelves in the shop, it's going to fit on your shelves at home because most likely we've got the same bookcases or units. Yeah. And the one thing we did do, which is really fun, is we've got sort of stained glass dragons and dice, and we hang them in our window at the back of the shop because we got this beautiful ironwork.
Oh, amazing.
Stunning old windows, right? Yeah. We have to do something fun with that. We have to lean into the kind of oldie worldy
the character of it.
So lovely. We've tried to blend the modern and the traditional together. Yeah. Which I think is a theme throughout our shop generally because as we will touch on in a minute, the board game side of stuff, we have a lot of gamers who understand gaming as your more traditional stuff, your Scrabble, your chess, your Monopolies, and that's still gaming. That's absolutely fine. That has its place, and we blend that with the modern side of things, which is exploding. There's more and more games every year. So hopefully that's a theme that runs through the shop really when you come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something really important. So just and like I said before we switch into the game side, is I think it's been certainly a lesson that we found here is that yes, okay, you have a vision of probably of what you want it to the end product to look like, but sometimes actually, budget wise, that might not be possible right now, but it doesn't, you can build things over time. You can, adapt things over time. Obviously there's going to be a core element that you need to kind of get going with, but I don't know, one of the biggest learnings that I think we've had here definitely is like, it doesn't need to be perfect straight away. And if you're a person that's maybe a little bit of a perfectionist, sometimes that can be quite difficult to swallow, can't it, sometimes? But I think, I don't know, and a lot of business owners we've been speaking to, again, have that same mentality of like, it's okay to start with if you just tweak things then as you go. It's sort of, don't worry about, you don't have to have all of that crazy upfront cost to start with. You're going to have a lot that you probably also haven't budgeted for anyway. So just, have that sort of mentality of you can build as you go.
Absolutely. And I think if anything, we've built more in a shorter time span than we thought we could at first. We started with bare bones, and for anyone that came in the shop day one, I think they were like, is this some kind of like boutique board game shop? We had like very spare games on the shelf, and that was me going, oh, this is definitely, I spent an insane amount of money on games, this is definitely going to fill the shop, and then it didn't, and it was like, oh, okay, interesting.
A big coming soon section or something.
Coming soon, yeah. I mean, a good example is role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. We started with a shelf of books. I think it was half a shelf, to be honest, at the time.
Yeah.
And now it's one of our biggest departments.
Wow.
And what I think is really good, especially if you're in a retail environment and you're starting out and you start out small, is you get the opportunity to listen to your customers. You get to grow around what they actually want and not what your vision of what it should look like is.
Yeah.
And my vision of what I thought the shop would look like when I first opened and what it looks like now are two very different realities.
Yeah.
That's been brilliant because it now reflects the customers that are coming in and saying, hey, what about this? Have you heard about this? What about this cool new thing? Or like, I really love this. Have you got more of things that are along this line? And so we've built around Ely rather than around just my vision of what it should look like, which I think is really important. And it was I think it's an upside to not having a huge budget to start with and not really knowing everything up front. Again, you learn as you go.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So let's jump into the game side. I feel like we've neglected that massively. It's obviously the core of what what you guys do. Why a game shop? What I guess at its core, kind of, is there something from a board game perspective that you feel those games give folks that maybe other hobbies or things don't? What was the draw for it being board games?
I think that's a really good question for two reasons really. So I joined Heifers as a bookseller. I love reading. That was my big hobby.
Yeah, same.
And I love books, and I was very excited to be a bookseller. But what I realised is that that's a very generally singular hobby. I have a fabulous book club that I go to, and we have a good natter about books.
Oh, I love that.
Once a month, and that's brilliant. But there's something about games where they are a mechanism for play. They're a mechanism for sitting down around a table and interacting with other people. Yeah. And I think at a time of pandemics and male loneliness epidemics and all the things we see on the website and we see, in the newspapers, and actually you can break down so many things by just, hey, you want to play a game?
Yeah.
You want to just play some cards with me? Yeah. You want to play Uno? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Just, tell me about yourself. And so much of it can get broken down, and you don't have to feel like you have to make like really stilted conversation. You don't have to necessarily make eye contact. You can just play. You can just do a thing. You can take all of the stress out of meeting people. And so for me, board games, I personally love playing them. I'm a big fan, but it was a way of connecting and building community.
Yeah.
It worked for me when I first moved to Ely.
Yeah.
They are there as a tool,
Yeah.
and I think they're a very important tool.
Yeah.
We talk about, there's a lot of research now around the importance of play in children and learning skills through playing outside, playing games to learn. And we forget that as adults that we can do that as well. Like we can hone in on our logic skills or spend a bit of time unwinding at the end of a day and teaching ourselves the importance of mindfulness through doing fun things. It doesn't always have to be, oh no, I need to change a habit in my life or something and I have to do it through working really hard, or you can actually learn a lot more through playing and interacting with things that you enjoy. So that for me is the core tenet that we take through the shop, really.
Yeah. I mean, I could not agree more. I mean, I'm a big advocate. I would say for more the traditional board games, just because that's all I've ever done so far. But the same, I absolutely love cards. I think it's one of those things, especially as well if you're away. If you're abroad, and we always take a pack of cards with us, or Uno, or both. And just the random conversations or people you'll meet from, you're playing a game or whatever, and they're like, can we join in? And people you meet that way, like you say, but it's not oh gosh, I'm having a drink with somebody and it's all a bit awkward. And it kind of, you don't have that, do you, when you have a game? But you have a lovely time, and you get absorbed in that as well.
I think you've touched on something that I really find fun as well, because a lot of us are used to taking that pack of playing cards on holiday or that small game on holiday. And when we're at our most relaxed, we naturally turn to games. And then when we come home and we're working and we're stressed, we don't have time for that. I don't have time to sit down and learn like a whole new rule book and do a thing. And I find that really funny, because we clearly all love playing games. And we all do it when we're at our most relaxed. We've had a sunny day out, we've been to the beach, whatever, we come home and we get the playing cards out. And we forget that. We come back into our normal routines and we forget that actually at the end of the day we'd quite like to have fun again. And
absolutely.
I think it's always a really funny thing to me, because especially this time of year, we do sell a lot of travel games and a lot of small packs of things. And I love that fact, and people taking stuff away with them. But come back and play it too. Come home and after dinner, sit at your dining table for a bit and play, or sit on the couch and play cards next to each other or whatever it is. But
put your phones down.
Put your phones down. I think we have like a lot of us are using devices throughout the day, right? And a lot of us are working on screens all day, every day. So I think at the end of the day,
absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I say, just take that time, and kind of connect together in that way. I think is really, really, really special, isn't it? To be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that leads on, I think, really nicely as well to you guys to, obviously there's different ways that folks can find games and different, different avenues of being able to do that. What do you touched on some of the community element there as well. What do you think makes you guys different, unique? You've got, obviously, I imagine by the sounds of what you're saying, you've got a bunch of amazing regulars as well that are kind of coming in, big advocates for you guys. What do you think makes you special? What's that kind of USP that for anyone that's not been into the shop?
That is such a good question, because I have been in many board game shops, I think, around the time that I've been in the hobby. And for us, it's about it being welcoming from the second you come in. This is very, very cheesy. A lot of people don't know this, because Odyssey Games seems like such a weird name, right? And I mean, I'm such a nerd, so I love everything. I love everything classical and Greek, and I'm a big fan of that sort of stuff. But the reason is because an Odyssey is a journey, and every single customer that comes into the shop is on their own journey. They're on their own board game discovery. You're going to find things that you love. You're also going to find things that you hate.
Yeah.
You're going to go, this type of game is absolutely not for me. And what for me was really important is that we're now in an age where we've broken down a lot of like things about board gaming, a lot of stereotypes that, you know, you're not just playing D&D in your mum's basement anymore or any of that, you know.
Yeah.
Games are for everybody. And in that respect, there are so many games being developed now by, you know, just from having like women game designers, having LGBT influences in games and things like that. You're starting to see such a wider range of games coming out that there really is something for everyone.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sit at a table and just lose repeatedly at the same game.
Get frustrated.
And go, well, this just isn't for me. And so we wanted that to be the core of Odyssey, is come in, explore, ask questions, find out what your jam is.
Yeah,
you know, what is the thing that you love.
Yeah.
The kind of games that are going to be right for you. It might be very different from the games that are right for the next customer.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to embody. So it's very cheesy, but that's what I love. That's why Odyssey is a bit different, is we wanted people to get involved and to have fun. And if you're not having fun, you're playing the wrong game.
Yeah. I love that. There you go. That's a life lesson for anyone.
Absolutely. Just let it go, get a new one, try something different.
Absolutely. Those put down that Monopoly if it's making you that angry.
If you're gonna flip over the table, play something different.
Yeah, note to my sister, she's actually, I don't know whether she'll appreciate me saying this or not. I'm going to now, I've gone down that road. The calmest, most wonderful human you will ever meet. She's gorgeous, Rebecca. And when we were kids, but has the craziest competitive streak that occasionally only comes out seemingly with Monopoly. And I remember as kids we were playing it, having a sort of, I'll say, okay time. Not there's anything wrong with Monopoly, sorry. You know, it is a great game. We were playing, she got that mad. Yeah, she did exactly that, flipped the table. And I don't think I've ever seen it since. She's not that type of person at all, but it's just
me and Mario Kart.
Got her. That's
controllers have nearly gone through the television.
So it's just a step
divorces
away.
have nearly been had.
It's all right. Let's step away from that game.
I need to walk away from this for 10 minutes. Let's go and put the kettle on.
Yeah. Okay. So so anyone that's listening, maybe
don't
just
play Mario Kart
just
with me.
Just leave that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on. Noted.
It gets ugly.
Right. So touching on that. So obviously, like I say, it's a lovely element. Like I love that you know folks come into the shop and it's a real personal journey. I think that's amazing. On that note, if you had somebody coming into the shop kind of for the first time and like, I'm not really a board game person.
Yes.
What would you suggest to them? What would you say to them? What would that conversation be like?
I always like to dig in a little bit further into what that is, because I'm not sure anyone is not a board game person. I think, again, it's breaking down that wall of, we have a lot of games in our shop and it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I'm very much convinced that you're a gamer if you're playing Uno. I grew up playing a lot of Scattergories with my mum, which is like a word game where you roll a die, it gives you a letter, and then you've got like categories you have to quickly write down a thing for.
Nice.
Or like Triominoes, which is dominoes, but with triangles, basically. So you have 3 numbers instead of 2. So I come from a game, you know, a place where I used to play a lot of classical games and, you know, Scrabble. Loads of Scrabble. Yeah. So if you're playing Scrabble, you're a gamer, you're a board game person.
Yeah.
And so it's always, I like to try and dig into that a little bit and say like, well, what is it that's maybe brought you in today? Or like, and it's usually maybe they haven't felt like they're not very good at it. They haven't won very many things, or they struggle with rule books. Yeah. And it might have been that they've been thrown in the deep end. Someone said, I love this game. You have to try this. And then suddenly, like, you've sat there for 45 minutes and someone's been explaining something to you and you're going, so I have to move this thing over here and do this thing. And then I have to go round the roundabout 3 times and go over here and do. And so a lot of people, I think, feel like they're not board game people because, again, they haven't found their thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have, you know, simple games, things you can learn in 30 seconds, things we can teach you at the till if you want, you know, like it's not, you don't have to walk out going, oh my God, this is never a thing for me.
Yeah. And now I've got to go and learn something.
Yeah. What is it to be a board gamer? Yeah. Do you have to have a huge collection of games at home, go to all the expos, do all the things? Or can it be something that you
just play
a board game?
Yeah.
Just play a game.
Yeah.
And suddenly, great. Like, what is it to be a reader? Oh, I read a book.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Absolutely.
You know, amazing. Like, you don't have to read 50 a year. You can read a book a year. You can just find something that you love and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's taking that pressure off of people, I think, is really important, and saying, like, this is a space for you. Yeah. This isn't a space that you have to be excluded from.
Yeah, I love that.
And so it's just starting really simple. Like, we break it down. What is it that makes you not think that this is for you? Yeah. What experience, what trauma have you had?
That game with your parents where all of a sudden everyone ended in a massive argument. You're like, that's it, never board games
never
ever
doing
again.
this again. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I love that. And also, like you say, it just takes out that intimidation, I think, because, for some people, like you say, it turns it into, these, you see obviously people that are super into it, and that's awesome. And it's kind of all like, well, that's not me, but that's also okay. It doesn't mean that you're not a gamer or you can't play board games just because you haven't, like say, haven't got a ginormous back catalogue of games at home.
No, absolutely. And I think that's what Odyssey is. Yeah. It's a shop for the community that it's in. Yeah. And not everyone in our community are gamers. And we've got some lovely gamers, and they're more than happy for you to go to one of their games nights and join in and go and they will be enthusiastic to welcome you and say, hey, come in, let's play. Yeah. But at the same time, you don't have to dedicate super amounts of time to a hobby for it to be a hobby. Yeah. You can just enjoy it when you've got time to enjoy it, really.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. So thinking on sort of like current trends and things going forward. So now I know you're very hot off the UK Expo from last week, or when this goes out a couple of weeks ago. Any takeaways, any kind of sneak peeks that you kind of want to share today that came up at that event?
There was a real focus this year, which I think is a perfect focus for what we're doing, to be honest, around solo gaming and mindful games. So, for example, if you love a jigsaw puzzle, that's great. We have jigsaw puzzles. Wonderful. Tick that box.
My eyes lit up at that. Sorry, I
jigsaw puzzles. But also, if you want to play games, but don't have an awful lot of time, or you don't have people to play with all of the time, we're starting to see games that allow you to I don't know, go through a dungeon and build a little character and fight a boss at the end, or put down tiles and make little ponds and pattern match and things that are meant for that. I need to unwind of an evening. I'm very stressed. I've had a long day. I want some time to just do something. And again, stretching our brains. Yeah. I like to think of it as a bit of like mental yoga. You know, doing like something that's a bit more. Again, you're not just doom scrolling for 3 hours, which I have definitely fallen down that hole myself several times.
I think we all do.
Yeah. So we're seeing a trend in kind of mindfulness this year coming into the board gaming community, like really strongly. Yeah. Cozy gaming.
Ooh, what's that cozy gaming?
So kind of like things that, again, maybe only take about half an hour, 40 minutes tops. Mm-hmm. Generally have like really nice artwork, maybe like animal themes or nature themes and things. Maybe you're building like an ecosystem, or you're building a little town or something. Yeah. And I think this has been an interesting trend actually as well in the gaming community, because we're seeing a lot of games around nature, but around climate change issues as well. So things that get you thinking a little bit about day-to-day impact, or like what can we all do to be a bit more mindful of where we live and our systems and things. And I picked up, like, for example, a very, this is incredibly niche. This was a game literally made for me. This is me and my hobbies and nobody else. But I picked up a role-playing game, but it's a solo role-playing game. So it's more, you might be able to like journal as you go, or like you have prompts and you make a story. So it's really good if you like writing and things.
Oh, wow.
But in this one, it comes with like a fabric map, and you journey along this map, and you're trying to kind of reach your friend, and you're going through memories and prompts and deciding the journey that you want to take on this map. And it's, you embroider your journey as you go.
Oh my god!
And so it's like all of my favorite hobbies in one.
Connected together. That's amazing.
So I'm just going to lose myself to like some embroidery of an evening, and I get to choose the journey and stitch it as I go, and I'll end up with something that I can put on my wall at the end.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's, when I really say there is something for everyone, it might be specifically very niche, but it is out there. It does exist.
Incredible. Is that so? The game you were talking about there, is that available now for folks? Would you recommend it or give us tell us what the name is? So for anybody that heard that and thought that sounds amazing,
it's called Amending.
Okay.
It comes in a little pouch. It's got everything you need to just get sewing, get started.
That sounds incredible.
It's from an indie publisher called Peregrine Coast Press, who we work with really closely.
Oh, wow.
And yes, I had to go and see them, obviously, at Expo, and they were and say hello, and they know what a sucker I am at this point. They were just like, look at all these wonderful new things that we've got. Aren't they all really nice? I was like, oh, just send me the bills. Send me the bills. Fine.
Amazing. So have you got those in the shop? So
we have, yes.
Amazing.
Yes. We've actually already sold out of the ones we bought.
Wow,
which is very exciting.
Amazing.
So we've got some more coming on the way. So
amazing. Okay, I might pop in and come and get one of those myself. That sounds right up my street. And also, do you share any? Have you got any? Is there anything on your socials or anything of the after creation of doing one of those?
I haven't yet, because I've got to get on and do it.
That's the trouble. I can imagine. Yeah,
that is the thing. Yeah,
doing I think the business side.
Yeah, there is. I think there's a good myth. A lot of people ask me, have you played all of these games? No, I'm lucky if I get to play like a game a month.
Yeah, I
I'm
can
too
imagine.
busy.
That's the trouble, isn't it? The downside.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh no, we'll look forward to it. Once you do finish one,
yeah,
it'd be good
I'll get it on the socials. Yeah, maybe by the time this comes out, there might be. I can actually have done some of it. So.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. So yeah, in terms of trends, that's super interesting. I think, like I say, that those solo mindful, because I think a lot of folks, especially like we touched on earlier on, are on at computers all day. You're on, super busy lives. You've got, just technology itself, kind of all of the pressures and all of that kind of stuff going on. And I think to have those kind of games where you can switch off and really focus in on something, but in a really positive way.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I think we've got quite good as a society of understanding what our physical health needs. Right. And like there is like there's the dark side of it, where we get fed a lot of influencing around diet culture, or you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to look a certain way, be a certain way. But I think generally, as we all understand that our health, in order to feel well, we have to be active, and we want to do more with the time that we have outside, going walking in nature or something, or like walking down by the riverside for an evening or something is a lovely way, especially this time of year, to spend your evenings. And games, I think, are a part of that. They're really, really good for mental health. They're really good for getting our brains working on little puzzles, little conundrums that are like, but if I place that tile there, then then maybe my opponent's going to be able to do that next turn, and that's going to be really annoying because I really want that cube. I want that one. So what do I do, and which order do I do things in? And just being able to like stretch your brains a little bit and problem solve in a way that isn't overly productive. Yeah. What's going to happen at the end of that game? You go, that was a nice time. You put it away, and maybe hopefully you had nice enough time. You might get it out again in a couple of nights' time and have another go. But there's no pressure, or at least there shouldn't be pressure attached to it. Yeah. And I think we focus a lot on winning or losing in games. I know I do. I'm such a nightmare for it. Yeah. But actually, what are you getting out of that time? You're probably able to probably lower your cortisol levels a little bit, you know. So I think the hope is that people get a bit of time to use those bits of your brain that are maybe feeling a little bit overworked and need just a little bit of stretching and just keep your mental health well. I think is really, really important.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. Right, well, we are nearing the end of the podcast, which has just flown by. Yes. Absolutely flown by. So we're gonna go into our quick fire round now before we talk about kind of future plans.
Yes.
Which we always preface is quick fire, and we will try and do it as quick fire.
Okay.
As much as we can.
Yes.
So first question for you is favourite board game of all time?
I knew you were going to ask me this and I'm still really stressed. I don't know if I have one of all time. One I currently have been obsessed with, and anyone that's come in knows about this, is called Botany. Your Victorian plant hunters going around a map. It's made by a husband and wife couple in America. The components are beautiful. The cards are beautiful. I love it. It's plants, traveling, silliness, and I recommend it for anyone. You can play it at any level of board gaming, which I think is why I love it so much, because you can just sit down and have a good time with it.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Next question, most underrated game.
Oh, most underrated game. Gosh. I think anything that is that's the question.
Tricky one.
Most underrated game. We have one called Sagrada. It's making stained glass windows, so it's perfect when you work in a cathedral. It's rolling dice and placing them in like a Sudoku-like style where like you can't place fives next to fives, and like you can't place a red dice next to a blue dice, or red dice next to a red dice. So that for me is underrated. I think it's just brilliant, and I think everyone should play Sagrada.
Okay, I like that. Best game for families?
Best game for families, Colt Express. Hands down, I think it's brilliant. You have just a giant train in the middle of your table, and you are on a heist, and you are trying to get as much treasure off of the train as possible. So you have to duck and dive each other and shoot at each other and just try and knock each other's little guys off the train. And you're basically just trying to be the best thief that you can be. And it's very silly, very lighthearted, and just a real people pleaser, because the minute you open the box, someone's building a train, someone's reading the rules, everyone's involved.
That sounds
silliness
great.
At its best. Yes.
Oh, I love that. I mean, and also with it on a train, James will be sad. I'll give him that recommendation when he finishes. That sounds right up his street. So this is a tricky one. Best game for competitive people.
Oh my goodness. Currently, and I am going to say it, back in stock in the end of June, a game called Magical Athlete. It's basically the Wacky Races, if anyone remembers Wacky Races. You've all got silly characters, they all do silly things. You're going to be rolling dice and using their superpowers to move around this board. You're just racing. There's such a competitive element to it, and everyone just gets really like committed to these little characters, and you want to make it to the first place, and really, really silly. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Okay, again, I feel like I'm going to be noting all these down afterwards. A bit of a strange. So, tea or coffee during a game night, or other, doesn't have to be tea or coffee. What's your kind of go-to drink?
I mean, I'm an addictive tea drinker. I've inherited this genetically from my mother. So I will always say tea. Yeah. My husband would probably say coffee. He likes a nice little, evening coffee. Yeah, like a little bit of maybe a decaf if he needs to unwind, but a lot of the time like a nice little evening.
Interesting. Quite like that.
One. Great, yeah. I think stimulants can be really good in a board game situation if you're looking to do an all-nighter and play for 8 hours or something. But I love a good cup of tea. Yeah,
lovely. So do I. Yeah, we certainly do here. And last question, in this round, dream person to play a board game with.
Oh, that is a really good question. I would like to play a board game with probably one of my favourite YouTube channel creators. There's a team called Shut Up and Sit Down. They do really great reviews for anyone that's like wants to know a bit more about the types of games that are out there.
Yeah.
And it's run by a pair called Matt and Tom, and I think I would have just the most fun playing with them. They're very silly, very lighthearted. They do great reviews online. I put a lot of stock in. If they say it's a good ball game, then it's probably a good ball game. So I put a lot of stock in what they have to say. So I think it would be really fun to play some games with them. I'd have a great time.
Amazing. Okay. So lastly, future plans wise for Odyssey Games, any kind of expansions or things that are coming up for you in the near future?
I've just hired a really wonderful lady called Fiona, who I mentioned earlier. She is our community champion. So she is organising events for us. She is working with local groups, local schools. And so we're just really hoping that you'll see more of us out and about. You'll see us at more markets and more events where you can come and play things. And we want to get out into our community and come and play with you. And hopefully that's kind of the way we're now going, is we would like to be able to facilitate more fun things. We've got our monthly games days down at the Maltings. Yeah. Our next one is the 14th of June. And then we've also got free RPG day on the 27th of June. All the information is on our website. But if you've ever wanted to give something like Dungeons and Dragons a go, or we've got lots of different RPGs happening on the day, and you don't know what it's about and you want to have a go, it's a great day to come along. Someone will be running the session. You'll get given a character. You get to play in a game for a few hours. See if it's for you. So that's 27th of June. All the tickets are free. You just sign up to the one that sounds like the one you'd like to do. Yeah. And we can...
Amazing. Very quickly, Robyn, I'm going to ask you probably a very stupid question, but I'm going to ask any RPG. What does that mean?
Sorry, yes, I should have said. It's a role-playing game. Okay. So your character,
got you.
It's narrative-based. You're going on an adventure. Going on a quest. So yes, absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, lovely. So if anyone can, seeing more of you guys, hopefully going forward as well. That sounds amazing. And then just coming along to any of those events as well, if people see more from you.
Absolutely. Pop into the shop if you've got any questions, or get in contact with us. And hopefully we'll see some more players very soon.
Amazing. Yeah. So lastly, then on that, where can people find you? Sort of obviously shop wise, but also online. Where can they find you?
Yep, so you can go to odysseygames.co.uk. I apologise for anyone that's trying to spell that. Let Google do the work.
And it's caught me out a few times.
We're also on Facebook and Instagram as Odyssey Games Ely. So we try and keep everyone updated with what we've got going on. You can join our newsletter at the bottom of our website as well and get 10% off your first online order.
Amazing. Lovely. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
I feel like I've got a whole bunch of games recommendations that I will be popping in to come and grab from you at some point.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Hopefully folks have learnt a lot as well from this, and it's super, super interesting. And if you haven't been into the shop, go in, come and see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks, Robyn.